That's all I got. I'm laying down, coach. We'll make history. Show them what I already know. The boys in the boat. We PG-13.
The last 2 years that I've been on my own, it's been really challenging in order to make ends meet. United Way agency that I deal with for things like food, keeping the cost of food down, help with toiletries and other necessities that if in need, that it gets always done with a smile. Thanks to United Way, seniors like myself live in grace and dignity.
Dangerous blizzard conditions are hitting California this weekend with more than 10 feet of snow and nearly 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Meteorologist Adam Potts has your Fox weather forecast. Adam?
Yeah, like this is a major winter storm we're seeing battering the West Coast. Currently, rounds of very heavy snow right along the coast and heavy rain. At high elevation, listen to some of these wind totals and listen to the mountain tops. So you are getting up to anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 feet. But winds as high as 190 miles an hour, a really powerful storm system that's just in the early stages still. It's going to last all the way through the weekend. These are some of our snowfall totals thus far. You are seeing areas getting already up to 42 inches, so well over 3 feet so far. And again, more is still to come. These are all our winter weather advisories across this entire region. And some of those areas where you're seeing the orange, that is a blizzard warning. It means visibility is going to be low, whiteout conditions for hours and hours and hours across some of these regions. The Sierra Nevada is going to be one of those spots with the most snow, perhaps as much as 10 feet of snow over the course of the weekend. So snow I showed you over some of those areas where we've already seen well over 3 feet. When you start to see some of these colors here, those pink colors, you're talking about another easily 3 to 4 feet. There will be isolated areas where they're higher than that. And then this whole system does spill out across the west, so ultimately it gets into the Rockies as well. Again, one area of MechWarrior, we're going to see a whole lot of this around Lake Tahoe, Sierra Nevada, still feet and feet and feet. This is going to be lasting all the way through.
Amazing. Adam Potts, Weather Center. Adam, thanks very much. Molly?
By the crowd facing off the southern border and dueling visits this week, we will take you live to the political hotspot in another hour of Fox News Live next.
Financial advice from Enterprise can do more than help you reach your goals.
Hi guys, welcome to my run on Battletech.
It can help you reach them with confidence.
As you can see in the top left, I got all the DLC installed.
Enterprise Financial.
So let's check this out.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with carb steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
The first to document COVID's origin, exposing human trafficking on the border and fentanyl on its source. For daring to tell the truth, we've been censored, demonetized, and attacked. We've been jailed in China, in Hong Kong, we've been tortured. In Atlanta, we've been tied to a chair and bloodied. In print and online, we have the courage to deliver the truth at all costs. The About Times is your source for truth. Discover truth at theabouttimes.com now.
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many Tina Feys I could be. So I hired body doubles to help me out. Spilurgy Tina loves the hotel in Rodeo Drive.
Oh, Tina.
Why, Tina, won't the wives stay to ride this horse? Glenn Close? Millions of possibilities. You can book whoever you want to be. That's my life. Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Accidents happen everywhere and every day. Sweep it up the easy way with the Helio Air Broom. The lightweight, flexible broom that's sweeping the nation. In one pass, it gets it all. Watch, ordinary brooms only get half the mess, but Air Broom's Ultraflex plane is specially designed to lift and grip and leave nothing behind. And for anything that hits the floor, it's a one-stop shop with the Helio dustpan. For pets, it's the best. It easily removes pet hair on all floors. The Helio Air Broom gets the big stuff, yet precise enough for the finest dust. Use it wet or dry. Clean spilled milk and cereal, and an impossible to clean broken egg. Plus, it rinses clean.
Started up. We're back on the streets.
You've got expensive hardwood floors, the Helio Air Broom is guaranteed to sweep without scratching. Plus, it gets into corners quick and easy. Use it in the bathroom. It'll sweep up hair, nail clippings, and floss. And with its telescopic handle, it becomes a squeegee too. Airproof, sleek, and slim, so you can store it anywhere. Watch, Helio's specially designed lift and grip Ultraflex blade effortlessly removes dust and hair on carpet, keeping your home mess-free. You'll love Helio, or your money back guaranteed. So get your ultra lightweight Helio Air Broom at helioairbroom.com for just $29.99, or call 1-800-381-9750 now. Order today, and we'll include our Helio dustpan absolutely free. We'll also throw in the Helio Mini, yours free too. Use the Helio Mini on your couch or furniture to clean fur quick and easy. And for the car, watch as Helio Mini cleans fur trapped in your car's carpet better than a vacuum. That's right, you can get the Helio Air Broom plus the Helio dustpan and the Helio Mini. A $60 value for only $29.99. So order now.
Dueling visits
I am
to the
Kamea
southern
of
border
House
this week from
Arano,
President Biden and
High
former
Lady
President
of the
Trump
Oregon
as
Reach,
immigration dominates
Protector
the
of
2024
Coromadir,
race. Welcome
and
to
the
Fox
Sword
News
of
Live.
Restoration.
I'm happy to be back in D.C.
Great to have
I
you.
am not a hero,
I'm Mike Emanuel, in for
no
Griff
matter
Jenkins.
what the
This comes as
stories
family and
say.
friends gathered to mourn
A
Georgia nursing
hero
student
would have
Leighton Riley.
sacrificed
She was
more,
allegedly murdered at the hands of illegal
compromised less.
immigrants on the University of Georgia's campus.
A hero would have
National
done
correspondent
better.
Griff Jenkins is live in Mission, Texas, with the
You
latest.
know
Hello,
this,
Griff.
of course. You
Good
are
afternoon, Mike, and the border encounters are ticking up again as we enter March. More than 7,000
My father
in the
used to
last
tell me
24 hours.
stories
Perhaps
about
that's
the
why we
ancient
had those
times,
dueling presidential
about the
visits.
starling,
President Biden went to
a
Brownsville,
golden age
which
of
is part of the
prosperity,
RGB sector,
upheld
while
by the
300
great
miles away,
MechWarriors of
former
old,
President Trump
guardians
pointed
of the
Eagle Pass
innocent,
in the Del Rio
protectors of the
sector,
peace.
each man taking
I
a shot
always
at one
dreamed
another.
of
Biden
following in
calling
their
on
footsteps.
Trump to join him in supporting that failed
But
Senate
I was too
border
young
bill,
to see
while
the
Trump
truth of
simply
things.
blamed Biden for what he called an invasion.
After all,
But look at
it
the
wasn't
numbers.
heroism
Neither went to
or
a
a
heavily
noble
trafficked
cause
area. We
that
can
won
show
me
you
the
in the last
throne.
24 hours.
It was
You've got
hiring
the
a
Tucson sector
mercenary,
out west in
skilled
Arizona,
enough,
leading with more than 1,800
perhaps ruthless
encounters.
enough,
San Diego over
to
1,200,
carry the day.
while the RGB had just
Hiring
350.
you.
Del Rio just over 300.
I still don't know
But
if you
that
fought for
migrant
honor or
crime,
for the
which is
thrill
what
of it, for
President
belief in
Trump
my
called
cause,
it, continues in Eagle
just
Pass.
in
Just
my
in the
money.
last few hours, you can look at this.
But whether it was your
Explicit
noble
video on
heart
Fox cameras
or
rolling
mercenary
as
mind,
2 female
your actions
smugglers were busted
gave us
smuggling
hope.
3 illegal
That makes you a
aliens,
hero
and had
in the
they
eyes of
gotten
history.
away, they would have been those
Whether
gotaways
you
that
believe it,
officials talk so much about, keeping them up at night. We had an exclusive interview with Border
that's
Patrol
up to you.
Chief Jason Owens, who talked a little bit about that danger. Listen here.
So I know so far the known gotaways, that's the folks that we've been able to detect, but we have not been able to get to and apprehend. It's in excess of 120,000 already this fiscal year. Now, as for the unknown gotaways, it's the whole tip of the iceberg theory. It's what we don't know. I'm worried that it could be a substantial amount.
And in the wake of the slain UGA student, Lincoln Riley, obviously part of why Americans are so concerned with immigration leading almost every election poll we've seen as of late. It'll be interesting to see if the White House does anything. They're supposedly considering taking some sort of executive action. Mike, we'll send it back to you.
Griff Jenkins live in Mission, Texas. Griff, any thanks? Molly?
Family, friends, and classmates gathering to remember Lincoln Riley. The 22-year-old nursing student's funeral was held yesterday in Woodstock, Georgia. Madison Scarpino is live in Atlanta with more on that memorial service. Madison.
Molly, it was a really sad day in Riley's hometown for her funeral, and it's only about 90 miles away, Woodstock, Georgia, from UGA's campus, where the nursing student was killed while on her morning jog last week. And hundreds of family and friends came to Woodstock City Church to honor Riley at the private service. The church's lead pastor said in a statement, quote, "Lincoln was special. She was a gift to anyone who knew her, smart, kind, compassionate, and thoughtful. Don't even begin to scratch the surface." And Riley's death is bringing up a lot of questions and frustrations about how the city of Athens and the country handle illegal immigration.
It makes people feel less safe at night, you know. My girlfriend doesn't feel comfortable going on walks with her dog like she used to now since this murder. So, pretty tragic.
ICE says Riley's accused killer, Jose Ibarra, came to the U.S. illegally in 2022. Just a few days ago, protesters repeatedly interrupted the Athens mayor during a news conference. The mayor made it clear Athens is not a sanctuary city. And this is all while protesters screamed liar, justice for Lakin, and called for him to resign. Now, as you just heard Greg talking about, former President Donald Trump was at the border Thursday and said he spoke with Riley's devastated parents.
She was beautiful, just so beautiful in so many ways, and brutally assaulted, horrifically beaten, kidnapped, and savagely murdered. The monster that charged in the death is an illegal alien migrant who was led into our country and released into our communities by crooked Joe Biden. He's crooked.
Now, the accused killer's brother was actually arrested during Riley's death investigation for having a fake green card. He's set to be in federal court on Monday on fraud charges. Back to you guys. Heart breaks for Lakin Riley's family. Thank you, for the reporting. For more on President Biden and former President Trump's visits to the border this week, we're joined by Democratic Congressman from California, a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Intelligence Committee, Ami Bera. Congressman, thank you so much for giving us some time on this Saturday afternoon. We really appreciate it. This young woman, Lakin Riley, who has now been laid to rest by her grieving family and friends, had also raised the question of sanctuary cities all across the country and whether or not law enforcement in these areas, if there should be a change. And a lot of critique of this, that the man accused in this murder could have been picked up at some point, possibly could have been deported during one of his prior interactions with law enforcement. Your thoughts as this becomes really a central issue, and sadly, Lakin Riley right at the center of this. Your thoughts?
Well, thanks for having me on. And our hearts go out to Lincoln's parents and the tragic loss of anyone who's been murdered in this manner. We've got to deal with this, and how I'm thinking about it, and how I think some of my colleagues are thinking about it, is separate legal immigration as well as the immigration system from what we're seeing at our borders, which does seem to be more of a national security issue. And I think you'll come up with different solutions for this. I do think we need to do a border bill. I think we need to address that issue, and then we need to address the chronic influx of folks that are showing up on the border.
One other thing to highlight, because you are a congressman from California, now we've seen an enormous influx shifting there to that San Diego area, and that city on the border is really struggling to handle that recent influx. There were some migrant shelters that were open. Now the money has run out. There are hundreds and perhaps even more than 1,000 people going to bus stations there in the city. Your thoughts on this shift and how California has become a little bit more of the epicenter that we saw Texas being most recently?
Yeah, right now ground zero is Arizona and California, because it really has shifted westward. Again, I would say there is a real urgency to address what we're seeing on the southern border. And the reality is it's going to get worse before it gets better. I was in Europe last week, and Europe was seeing that influx of migrants over the past decade. What you're seeing in the global south with climate change, with instability, with crime, it's a different sort of migrant that is coming up to the border. Whereas a decade, 2 decades ago, you'd see folks that were coming here for work, but they'd go back and forth over the border, it wasn't the same issue that we see today.
I think it's interesting where you're saying there needs to be 2 issues. There's the border issue, and then migrants all across the country, and some policy issues there. What we're seeing in San Diego is that people are coming across the border. There's the border impact potentially, but then they do disperse and go all across the country. And now we're seeing cities as far away as Boston struggling to find housing for migrants. So your thoughts on what can be done between those 2 separate points that you're talking about?
I think it's compounding an issue. We see it here in Sacramento, my hometown, where we already have a tremendous homeless challenge. And then this is dropped on top of that. You hear Eric Adams talk about it in New York. You hear the mayor of Chicago talk about it. So again, I think we've got to come up with a long-term solution, I think. And it's not going to be an easy solution. It's going to take Democrats and Republicans coming together to do this. But probably have to keep folks closer to the border. If it's setting up camps where you can process folks, treat them as human beings. But again, this problem is not going to get better. It's going to get worse because you see that instability in the global south.
Yeah, and quickly, there were these dueling visits, the president, the former president, down around the border. The current president, Joe Biden, pointing at former President Trump and saying, you need to do more to bring Congress on board. But does the president, Joe Biden, need to do more? Can he do more? We've seen executive orders in the past that Trump had in place that Biden rolled back. What is he doing?
You know, I think President Biden is thinking about executive orders. I certainly think when we hear the State of the Union this coming week, he's going to have to address the border, and perhaps you'll see some announcements there. And I think what President Biden is alluding to is there was a bipartisan bill that was a tough negotiation in the Senate. I think it's a good bill. It's not the end of this, but it is a good start. It gets needed resources to our border and customs folks down there. And we also have a fentanyl crisis there. We've got to have better scanning and stop fentanyl at the border.
All right, Congressman, a little foreshadowing for us. We appreciate that. And thank you for giving us your time on this Saturday afternoon. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Be well.
Mike?
From the same state, but the other side of the aisle, we're now joined by California Republican Congressman and member of the House Foreign Affairs and Judiciary Committees, Darrell Issa. Congressman, welcome.
Oh, Mike, I was thrilled to go second in this case because my Democratic colleague said one thing that was accurate, which is Democrats have to join the enforcement effort because it's their president who, in fact, deliberately reversed policies in order to welcome in the arsonists that now have burned down the House, still speaking metaphorically. The reality is that it was a policy change that did this. It's a policy change that turns it back around. And that negotiation in the Senate, I just want to speak to it because my colleague alluded that it was good but not perfect. No, it was imperfect and flawed from the beginning. The idea that 1.5 million people would be the additional illegals coming in as the so-called cap of 5,000 a day is ridiculous. The fact is the president since the 1950s has had the authority to cease bringing in people that are claiming asylum, mostly falsely, at any time for a national security basis. We have decades worth of backlogs, 7 to 9 million people right now who will be decades before they could even be adjudicated. The list of just 1.5 million goes out 4 years, and they haven't even given dates to people beyond that. So the idea that you need more people to greet and bring people in at the border goes back to the same problem. No, you need Border Patrol to be able to do their job, which is to stop people from coming in. Right now, they have an open border by policy. They need to close the border by policy. The president has the authority to do so. I look forward to his State of the Union. I do not expect him to say, yes, I'm going to close the border, an authority I've always had. I'm going to reverse the policies of 3 years that have brought in 7+ million people that are not going home anytime soon, that were not vetted, that in fact are displacing the people standing in line waiting to get into this country legally.
So we saw President Biden at the Texas border this week. Texas Governor Greg Abbott blocked the location he chose, saying he picked some sanitized location in Brownsville, Texas. Didn't see the full impact. Southern California has really heated up in terms of the migrant crisis. What's the impact on your district, and should the president visit Southern California and Arizona to get a full picture?
He should visit the 40,000 square foot fentanyl locker that just services a portion of the border, my 100 or so miles of the Mexican border in my district, and realize the amount of killing drugs that killed over 100,000 people last year that are coming in because of his open policy. You can't have an open border and then try to protect against drugs. You can't have an open border and try to protect against gangs and criminals coming in. The reality is we can do immigration reform. We can take the 1.3 or 1.4 million legal immigrants every year. We could raise it to 1.5. What we can't do is have millions of people every year come in unvetted without exactly what happened in Georgia and around the country, which is these people include a large amount of people who are fleeing where they were criminals to be criminals here. It includes the MS-13. It includes all of that. And by the way, it includes the drugs and the drug smugglers that are killing people. And by the way, the idea that it's climate change may be coming, but these people are coming for jobs. They don't even pretend anymore to be coming for asylum. When I've interviewed people in Chinese, in Russian, in Portuguese, in Spanish, through the translator that I hold up,
The reality is they all say they're coming here for jobs. They know what cities they're going to, and they have a general idea what kind of jobs they're going to do. I appreciate people coming for a better life, but it should be orderly and legal, and it's not. And that is the president and the president alone who can change that. No law is going to change a president who doesn't enforce the law. That's what we need to change. That's what you're going to hear us say, Monday night, which is we need to have border enforcement. We don't have it now, and the president has neutered the border patrol, and that Senate bill will only essentially legalize and maybe cap it 1.5 million. We're not prepared to bring in 1.5 million unfiltered people every year. And my colleague in Sacramento is a long way from the border. But the fact is, the president's policies mean there is no border. And as a result, my district isn't suffering that much more than other districts. The reality is, all of America is suffering from it. And they're suffering from it because the president planned to do it. And he planned to do it because it changes the demographics for elections in this country. I believe wholeheartedly that is his reason.
Congressman Darrell Icey of the great state of California, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Michigan GOP holding a nominating convention today to allocate its 39 remaining delegates. Despite major internal divisions, disputes, state Republicans are expected to unite behind President Trump. Grady Trimble watching this for us. He's in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with the latest updates. Grady.
And that's what we're seeing so far, Molly. Two big updates today, both here in Michigan and also in Missouri, and both in favor of former President Trump. I'll start with Missouri, where the caucuses have been called for President Trump, and that starts a months-long process of allocating the state's delegates. And here in Michigan, we're at a state GOP convention where the representatives here are trying to figure out how to divvy up their delegates, and so far, former President Trump has nearly achieved a sweep. Not quite. So the way this is working is that representatives from each of Michigan's 13 congressional districts, they've been holding individual meetings to pick their preferred candidate. So far, 11 districts' results are in, all of them voting overwhelmingly for Trump, securing him 33 delegates. 2 districts have yet to make a decision, so that means 6 delegates are left for a total of 39. Michigan GOP Chair Pete Hoekstra has been running the show here, and he tells me he's operating under the assumption that former President Trump will secure the presidential nomination. In fact, in an interview with me, he called Trump the presumptive candidate. And because of issues like the economy and immigration, he thinks Trump's got a good shot of winning this critical swing state in the general election.
Winning the presidency is hard. No one ever said it would be easy. I chaired the President Trump's campaign in Michigan in 2016. I'm proud to be a part of that team again in 2024. We delivered it once, and I think we can deliver it again.
I'll come right out and say it, kid.
So here's where the delegate count stands right now after several early states are in. Former President Trump with 155, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley with 24. She's, of course, hoping to reverse those fortunes on Super Tuesday. The magic number to win the GOP nomination is 1,215. We should also point out, Molly, there are contests and delegates up for grabs in Idaho and Washington, D.C. this weekend ahead of Super Tuesday, where there are more than 800 delegates up for grabs on that single day. Molly?
Brett, thank you for doing the math for us. Very exciting times. We've got a few more days. We'll see a lot more numbers coming in. Grady Trimble, thank you very much. Mike?
Molly, 3 astronauts along with 1 Russian cosmonaut are set to launch to the International Space Station tonight. We will take you live to the Kennedy Space Center next.
We're building a better postal service. All parts working in sync to move your business forward. For more value, more reliability, and more on-time deliveries. The United States Postal Service, built for how you business. Can Deriva support your brain health?
Hey, Janet, hey.
Eddie, no. Fraser, Frank. Brad.
Can you just...
Camille is like a daughter to me, and her late father, High Lord Damati, was a good friend. Victoria pulls no punches, but she's been a loyal companion to Kamea since they were kids. Aside from you, there's no one I'd rather have by my side in a fight.
Enemy detected.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Jump jets build a lot of heat, and that was more than your engine could handle. Head on into that water. We need to get you cooled off. Push that engine, kid. If something goes wrong today, I want to know that your mech can maneuver.
Full throttle.
An impressive display, Sir Raju. Of course, this MechWarrior was a student of yours. I'd expect them to know their way around a cockpit.
Missions to the lunar South Pole, and NASA is increasingly relying on private sector spacecraft such as Intuitive Machines' moonlander Odysseus, which landed on the moon earlier this month to survey potential landing sites. The idea is to increase exploration for less money. An inflation-adjusted analysis by the Planetary Society shows the cost of sending a single astronaut to low Earth orbit decreased from $390 million for Apollo 7 in 1968 to $170 million for the space shuttle, and now it's down to about $60 to $67 million per seat aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon, the type of spacecraft that they hope to launch later today. Mike?
Jonathan, feels like the right time to give it the old Vulcan salute. Live long and prosper, buddy.
Live long and prosper, my friend.
Necessary. Thanks so much. Molly?
A California official calling out the state over its handling of the migrant crisis. Joining us live next.
Here's to getting better with age.
Cheers to beating these two every Thursday.
Help fuel today with Boost High Protein. Complete nutrition you need without the stuff you don't. So, here's to now. Boost!
Men tell us when they use Just for Men to eliminate gray, there's a great before and after. Then, there's the after. That boost you get when you look and feel your best. And that's why more men choose Just for Men.
Businesses go further with 5G solutions. That's why they choose T-Mobile for Business. PGA of America and T-Mobile are partnering on 5G-powered analytics to help improve player performance. T-Mobile's network helps AAA stay connected nationwide to get their networks back on the road. At Las Vegas Grand
I remember
Prix,
the Oregon Reach of old,
Operation
the time of the great expansion.
racing events. Now,
I was just a boy.
America's largest 5G network.
Proudly, we went forth, bringing the light of our coalition to so many systems.
And takes forever.
And for what?
Until now,
To see our great kingdom slowly waste away?
Water flosser that gently
Year after
cleans and
year,
flosses
the
your
council
entire mouth.
deliberates while our economy
For a
falls.
dentist clean feeling
And the
and
wolves
brighter
bay
clear
at every
smile.
door,
Now I look forward
while
to
covetous
flossing.
neighbors
The
plot
secret is
against
this
us.
specially designed
Will I
egg-shaped flossing pad
can go.
Covetous neighbors.
the top,
We are here today because if Lady Orana will not act, someone must. I know what I'm asking. You will face former comrades, or even loved ones, on the battlefield. I take up arms against my own niece. But remember, today we sacrifice so that tomorrow we can return our kingdom to its proper glory, to its proper strength. So should you fall tonight, know that you did so as true heroes of the region. To your stations, for the directory!
Brushing alone is not enough. Flossing is the only way to remove harmful bacteria. With Miracle Smile, water can get into those crevices that are hard to reach. A compact, portable design, cordless, lightweight, and easy to fill and use. With 3 adjustable pressure settings, Miracle Smile is safe and soothing for sensitive teeth and gums.
I have sensitive gums, so it's hard for me to floss, and it's painful. But with Miracle Smile, it's so gentle, and it just feels good.
And it's water resistant, so you can use in the shower. It's fast, it's easy, and look at my smile. Get yours at buymiraclesmile.com for only $39.99 or call 1-800-361-7047.
It's only 10 seconds. I mean, there's just no excuse not to floss.
Miracle Smile, the 10-second flosser.
With thyroid eye disease, I hid from the camera, and I wanted to hide from the world. For years, I thought my TED was beyond help. But then, I asked my doctor about Tepezza.
Tepezza is the only medicine that treats TED at the source, not just the symptoms. In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza had less eye bulging. Tepezza is an infusion and may cause infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you experience high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before treatment, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise blood sugar and may worsen IBD. Tepezza may cause severe hearing problems, which may be permanent.
Command interface initiated. Now, I'm ready to be seen again.
Visit mytepezza.com to find a TED eye specialist and to see Bridget's before and after photos.
A group of bipartisan California state senators attempting to address the state's retail theft problem and fentanyl crisis through a new bill called Working Together for a Safer California. The proposed legislation comes as California is seeing a surge of migrants crossing the border. Christina Coleman is live here with more. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, just yesterday, Border Patrol agents announced what they call a colossal discovery of fentanyl pills with an approximate street value of more than $11 million in the San Diego Border Patrol sector. CBP shared these photos of the seized drugs. And just think about this for a sec. The DEA says just 1 single kilogram, which is a little more than 2 pounds of fentanyl, has the potential to kill half a million people. And here you have more than 561,000 fentanyl pills, which weighed 123.6 pounds, found hidden in a vehicle on Sunday at California's San Ysidro port of entry. And just last week, border agents say they seized an estimated $130,000 worth of fentanyl pills at an immigration checkpoint in the El Centro Border Patrol sector in California. Now, legislative efforts to combat this crime is in the works. A bipartisan group of California senators just introduced a legislative package to address 2 significant challenges in this border state: retail theft and the fentanyl crisis.
The introduction of deadly fentanyl has had an exponential impact, and no one is spared, no matter your background. According to the latest available numbers, there are more than 12,000 drug overdose deaths a year in the Golden State. More than half of them related to fentanyl.
Now, state lawmakers have already invested more than $30 million over just the past 2 years to the Counter-Drug Task Force, which includes the California National Guard and local and federal law enforcement, in an effort to stop drug trafficking and transnational crime organizations.
In 2022 alone, the task force was able to recovered $969 billion worth of illegal street drugs. And a staggering 20% of that was fentanyl.
If the California senators' proposed bipartisan legislation is passed and signed by the governor, it would increase access to addiction treatment and drug prevention efforts as part of a comprehensive approach to combating the fentanyl crisis. Mike?
Christina Coleman reporting live. Christina, thanks very much. Molly?
More than 1,500.
Ysidro. Sounds fun.
I've got your back.
See, Channel's asking me where he is. There's Virginia. You're not there.
I'm moving.
It's a long ways from here. We're in San Diego.
More than 1,500 migrants have been dropped off on the streets of San Diego, California, after the county's Migrant Welcome Center ran out of money and shut down at the end of February. San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond joins me now for more on the impact that he is seeing there of this migrant crisis and on his community. Jim, we just showed a little bit of a video of you. You've been on the ground there. What have you seen, and what are your greatest concerns?
Well, as you saw in that video, there's roughly now between 600 and 900 people per day being dropped off here in San Diego County at that transit stop in southern San Diego County. And some of the people are staying here. We're not really sure how many. And what's striking about the people being dropped here by the Border Patrol is about 70% of them are single males. And, some of them are going on, but some are not. And what's happening at that drop-off site, which has no bathrooms, no facilities, is that nonprofit organizations now are taking them to San Diego Airport, where hopefully they're going to go on their way in the next day or two to someplace else in the country. But in the meantime, our airport is now the new language. And we have people sleeping there. We're a big tourist community, and that, to have to be the first thing you see as you come into San Diego County is not pretty, and so it's having an effect on our tourism here. It's also having an effect on crime in our streets, and we just don't know how many people are staying and how many people are going.
Yeah, our reporter Rick Jenkins, as usual, breaking major news for us. 7,000 total encounters yesterday across the southern border in Tucson. They led with 1,800. San Diego, number 2, 1,200 encounters. So this is the new epicenter. What do you make of that? And is San Diego and that area ready to respond?
Well, I wish it were. I wish the Border Patrol, when they say encounters, that means people coming up to them. What I witnessed on New Year's Day at the Jacumba border, which is about 60 miles east of San Diego, is
just a hole in the fence where people are just walking through unimpeded, being watched by Border Patrol, but not being stopped by Border Patrol. Border Patrol, they're great people, but they're getting their borders from above. But the fact that we just have people that can just jump ahead of the line. We've got a legal immigration system. We have embassies all throughout the planet. And yet, if you're allowing people to jump ahead of the line, why would they do it legally? They can pay somebody about $5,000, and they come in, jump ahead of the line here in San Diego County unimpeded. I think this is just going to keep getting worse. And we really need Border Patrol to secure the border, and the president has the power to do that.
Jim Desmond, thank you so much for your insights. Great points. And it is interesting to see things shifting, and they are shifting into your neighborhood. So we appreciate chatting with you today, and we'll likely do so again in the future. Jim Desmond, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
State judge in Georgia set to decide within 2 weeks if Fulton County DA Bonnie Willis should be removed from the Trump election interference case after hearing closing arguments yesterday. This is a judge in a separate case against Trump called Jack Smith's proposed trial date unrealistic. Madeline Rivera is live with the latest. Hello, Maddie.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. The decisions of these two judges could determine whether former President Trump will stand trial in Georgia and Florida later this year. In Georgia, Trump and his co-defendants are accusing Fulton County District Attorney Bonnie Willis of financially benefiting from her relationship with a special prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Willis hired him to help lead the election interference case in November 2021. They say the appearance of conflict is enough to get her kicked off.
Keep close and remember your training.
If this is tolerated, we'll get more of it.
Between here and there.
This office is a global laughing stock because of their conduct.
But the Fulton County District Attorney's Office says the defense must show actual conflict, which they argue hasn't been done.
There's absolutely no evidence that the defendants in this case, their due process rights, have been harmed in absolutely any way.
As we wait to see how Judge Scott McAfee rules within the next 2 weeks, all eyes are also on federal Judge Eileen Cannon in Florida. Cannon did not make a decision Friday as to when the trial involving Trump's handling of classified documents will begin, saying the legal issues are complicated. Special counsel Jack Smith wanted to start July 8th. Trump's team is suggesting August 12th, though they argue one shouldn't start at all before the November election. Cannon also raised a question regarding the Justice Department's policy that no action should be taken 60 days before an election. Special counsel attorney Jay Bratt says that doesn't apply to cases where charges have already been filed.
Madeline Rivera, live here. Maddie, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm on the move.
President Biden spending the weekend at Camp David as he prepares for Thursday's high-stakes State of the Union address. This as the president faces continued backlash over his inaction on the border crisis. Lucas Thomas is live outside the White House. It's Lucas.
And Molly, as we speak, President Biden is likely poring over that State of the Union address speech with his speech writers, and some would like to insert language detailing the executive actions that many want to see take when it comes to the southern border.
We really force it on the border. I don't have the authority to do that. So here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. Instead of playing policy for this issue, instead of telling members of Congress to block this legislation, join me, or I'll join you in telling the Congress to pass this bipartisan border security bill. We can do it together.
Yes. The largest mass migration in U.S. history took place between 1881 and 1914 when more than 10 million immigrants arrived from Europe, a number that by some estimates has been equaled over the past 3 years under President Biden's watch. Republicans say Biden needs to return to those Trump-era border policies.
He can actually shut down a border completely if he wanted to. In fact, these are all authorities that President Trump used at one time or another. So we're just asking for common sense. I'm the daughter of immigrants. We want to have immigration to continue legally. I've actually helped over 100 people become U.S. citizens from my district who have come here the right way and did everything, follow the rule.
Congresswoman Maliotakis says her guest for President Biden's State of the Union address, the New York City police lieutenant who was attacked recently by migrants in New York.
Very high-profile guest at that, Lucas Tomlinson. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nice.
Molly, the U.S. airdropping aid into Gaza this morning. We will speak with a top Israeli government spokesperson on the status of ceasefire talks next.
Once you try beef, I'll more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure protein. Protein, unbreakable sugar, 25 vitamins and minerals, and a new fiber blend with a prebiotic.
Flagged a hostile vehicle.
Further facts. Susie here is shopping for a used car, but she doesn't know that nearly half of them have been in an accident. Interesting. But CarFacts.com shows how accidents impact price, so she doesn't have to overpay on cost. Shop the all-new CarFacts.com. I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Emerge as you. With Tremfya, most people saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months, and the majority stay clearer at 5 years.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya aids resistant infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge as you. Emerge Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Dull hardwood floor? Quick Shine It. Restore and protect the color and beauty of your floors. Squirt, spread, done. Take clean to the next level. Quick Shine It. Quick Shine is bucket-free, streak-free, haze-free. 0 residue cleaning. Spray, mop, done. Safer germs, always. Quick Shine It. Quick Shine is safer for kids, pets, and our environment. Formulated for hardwoods and all hard surface floors. Restore, refresh, reimagine.
For nearly a decade, I served in the Navy supporting SEAL teams. Today, I run Sabo Outdoors with fellow Special Operations veterans. Our mobile app connects customers with hunting, fishing, and other outdoor experiences. American technology has been essential to our growth. But some in Washington want to stifle technology small businesses like ours. This misguided agenda will empower foreign adversaries, threaten national security, and destroy jobs. Our leaders need to strengthen, not weaken, American technology.
Scout is protected by Simparica Trio, and he's in it to win it. Simparica Trio is the first chew with triple protection. Oh, please! It kicks! Intestinal worms while worm disease. No problem with Simparica Trio. This drug class has been associated with neurologic adverse reactions, including seizures. Used with caution in dogs with a history of these disorders. For winning protection, go with Simparica Trio. It's cold outside. Time to protect your vehicle from winter's wrath. Of course, the hot sun can be tough on vehicles too. You need WeatherTech. Laser measured floor liners and cargo liner will shield the carpeting from sand and snow. For your interior, there's seat protector and sunshade. Plus, mud flaps and bump step for the exterior. While the new impact liner with shock absorbing rings safeguards your truck bed from costly damage. Order American made products at WT.com. Surf's up.
I'm former Major League pitcher David Wells. Over the years, I've been helping veterans get the medical resources they need and help them overcome their challenges. They've sacrificed so much for our country, and it's our duty to take care of them when they come home. Sadly, too many of our veterans have struggled to make ends meet and are homeless. That's where Tunnel to Towers comes in. They are now providing housing and services to homeless veterans to help them get back on their feet. What these guys have done and these men and women have done to make our lives a little bit better, it's pretty gnarly because, war is no joke. What they stand for and what we all stand for, that's why we're all here today, is to pay back any way we can do it, we do it. Join us in our mission to end veteran homelessness in America. Please go to t2t.org to donate now.
And you will have me to deal with.
The U.S. dropping thousands of meals into Gaza today in an emergency humanitarian operation. This as Israel faces mounting pressure after more than 100 people died while scrambling to receive aid on Thursday. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in Tel Aviv, Israel, with the details on this unfolding. Mike, to you.
And Molly, you mentioned that the U.S. Air Force has dropped badly needed food into the Gaza Strip. Air Force C-130s dropped some 66 pallets with 38,000 halal meals into the Gaza Strip. They were assisted by the Royal Jordanian Air Force. And this follows a tragic incident in which an aid convoy was mobbed by desperate and hungry Palestinians. The facts are contested, but at some point the truck drivers panicked and drove. At some point, Israeli forces opened fire, saying they were threatened. Israel says most of the casualties came from the stampede or the trucks driving over people. Palestinians say most of the casualties were caused by IDF soldiers firing into the crowd. The Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry says at least 115 people were killed in the incident. Another convoy driving food into the Gaza Strip was mobbed today, underscoring the need for airdrops. Now, ceasefire talks are not dead. The Israeli delegation has arrived in Cairo for talks that are set to begin tomorrow. What we know about the ceasefire talks, they involve the potential release of 40 Israeli hostages, women, wounded, and elderly, in exchange for about 400 Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails, also in exchange for 6 weeks of ceasefire. Molly, back to you.
Mike Tobin, important updates. Thank you.
Molly, for more on this, joining me live from Tel Aviv is Israeli government spokesperson Tal Heinrich. Tal, welcome.
Stand down.
My pleasure to be joining you.
Let's start with the news of the day. U.S. forces dropping humanitarian aid into Gaza. What is your reaction?
Well, Israel, just like our international partners, we want to see as much humanitarian aid arriving in Gaza and reaching to the civilians who need it the most. You see, Israel has been facilitating the insertion of more than 250,000, I should say, tons of humanitarian aid, equipment, and food and water, on which we place no restrictions since the beginning of the war. And so far, and we have facilitated these in this kind of an effort which is unprecedented in urban warfare, in the history of modern urban warfare. You know, and this is an enemy zone, just to remind the viewers here, which still holds our stolen people, our hostages that have been there for nearly 5 months.
We're told more than 100 people were killed on Thursday as Israeli forces were delivering humanitarian aid, some trampled, others shot. What about calls for an investigation into that incident?
Well, of course, the IDF is looking into this incident, but as your reporter just stated correctly, this is a tragedy. And like every other tragedy throughout this war, it should be blamed on Hamas. These are the images that we're showing on the screen right now that Hamas wants to see. Exactly these images. They want the civilian suffering in Gaza. They want increased casualties, civilian casualties in Gaza, because they're stealing humanitarian aid from them, and they hope that by producing these kind of images and civilian suffering, Israel will succumb to international pressure and take the fire for their own vile actions, and by doing so, they hope that we will stop crushing them on the ground. This is not going to happen. Our fight is not with the civilians of Gaza here, of course. Our fight is with Hamas. We will dismantle the terrorist organization and make sure that they no longer have military capabilities to ever hurt us again.
There's also talk of a temporary ceasefire. Let's hear from President Biden, and I'll get your response.
We're trying to work out a deal between Israel and Hamas, the hostages being returned, and the immediate ceasefire in Gaza for at least the next 6 weeks, and to allow the surge of aid the entire Gaza Strip, not just the south, the entire Gaza Strip.
Are you hopeful there will be a deal?
Well, we always have hope. We want our stolen people back. Full stop. And we're investing a lot of efforts, military efforts on the ground and diplomatic efforts behind the scenes. We're pursuing these avenues as well because we want to see another deal that will see the release of the remaining hostages, 134 of them. We have a moral duty to them and to their families. We want to see them reuniting. But you see, Hamas so far has presented terms in negotiations that have been delusional, as Prime Minister Netanyahu referred to them. And Secretary Blinken, he referred to them as non-starters. We know that what works against Hamas is this combination of very heavy military pressure on the ground, and that's what worked back in November. This is how we got that framework that we had in place that saw the release of more than 100 hostages. But we've set very clear red lines for any potential such deal. We said that we will not agree to release thousands of Palestinian terrorists in exchange, and we will not agree to withdraw IDF forces from the Gaza Strip entirely, because that would mean giving up on a total victory in this war.
I want to play for you a clip from Defense Secretary here in the U.S., Lloyd Austin, and I'll get you to respond.
Mr. Secretary, about how many Palestinian women and children have been killed by Israel since October 7th?
It's over 25,000.
Austin's spokeswoman later clarified, backing off of that number, but does it trouble you when he cites numbers presented by Gaza's Hamas run health ministry?
Well, I am sure that everyone knows, and well, the secretary knows, and everyone, you said it yourself, that it was somewhat backtracked or clarified later that these are numbers provided by Hamas. We do not take any claim, report, number, narrative, propaganda by Hamas at face value. That's a rule of thumb. These are the same terrorists who invaded our borders on October 7th with their death squads and raped and mutilated and burned entire families alive. Of course we should not believe them.
Tal Heinrich, Israeli government spokesperson, thank you so much for your time and your help today.
You have my attention.
Thank you.
Molly?
Avalanches, whiteout conditions, and power outages are all houses that the National Weather Service is predicting as treacherous winter storms pummel the Sierra Nevada region. That is next.
My cholesterol is borderline. I figure I can worry about it or do something about it. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste free with guaranteed potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with garlic.
This looks like an actual farm. Meanwhile, at a Virgo,
None other vacation rentals aren't what they're cracked up to be.
try one where you know what you get. This year, I got serious about my taxes. I went with the TurboTax expert because I had 2 full-time jobs, lawyering and cleaning, all on my own. Count on me, Mia. I'll file your taxes for you with 100% accuracy guaranteed. I'm too tired to smile. Make your moves count. Intuit TurboTax. Let a full-service expert do your taxes for you as soon as today. Hi, Grandma.
Oh, shit.
That's great.
What position did you play?
First base. That's what my grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-979-0270. That's 1-800-979-0270.
A Moscow court rejected the latest appeal of jailed American reporter Evan Gershkovich.
Oh, shit. Right at the beginning, too.
Let's get Evan home.
Captain Marvel, we need you to save the world.
I don't like it. Keep your head on a swivel and be ready for anything.
The only star is together.
Get her out!
Further, faster.
Whatever's happening here, I won't let
There's
it
a lot of
derail you.
loneliness and isolation.
People need you.
Thank you, Roger. I will prove myself worthy.
Reading
Thank
us
you.
the story program allows you to work with our dog by reading stories to them. The hands-on interaction with our therapy dogs that can make a very big difference with day-to-day mental health. Thank you for your support of the United Way. It allows our therapy dog program to visit seniors and youth in need.
Copy that.
Sounds good. I'm moving.
Clubs, leagues, and courts in every province and territory across Canada, squash and speed sports for wall-to-wall fun, fitness, and friendship. From coast to coast to coast. Learn to play, and you'll want to do it every day. Squash. Play inside the box.
Heavy snow blanketing Interstate 80 in California and creating extremely dangerous travel conditions. The biggest storm of the season, leaving some areas covered in up to several feet of snow. Max Gordon is live with the latest. He's in South Lake Tahoe, California. Max, to you.
I'm on the move.
Hey, well, this storm has been delivering quite the winter wallop. Right now, some areas seeing around 4 feet of snow falling. There have been wicked winds as well. Palisades Tahoe measuring a 190-mile-per-hour gusts. This as power outages continue to mount up. Right now, around 32,000 customers without power here in California. Travel has also been extremely difficult across the Sierra. Interstate 80 had to be shut down by CHP. This after multiple spinouts, tractor trailers, jackknifing. CHP determined that it was just too dangerous for cars to continue to travel along I-80. Now, some routes are still open, US 50 and others, but chain controls are currently in place on those routes. When it comes to ski resorts, still being open, some of them, it's a mixed bag, are opening today at reduced capacity. That's because the winds have been whipping and it's too dangerous for upper mountain operations. Other ski resorts remain closed because it's simply just too dangerous for skiers to hit the slopes right now. Now, looking forward in the next couple of days, Sunday looks to be a little bit better. The snow will start to slack off. We're not going to see these winds whipping as we have over the past couple of days. And then early into next week, there should be some great skiing conditions up here in the Sierra. Hopefully my bosses get the day off. Guys.
There you go, Max. Read my mind. Enjoy. Thank you for the report. Appreciate it.
I'm moving out.
Molly, let's go more than 400 miles to the south to the Big Bear Valley. Thousands of people across the world anxiously awaiting the possible hatching of 3 eaglets. Goating parents Jackie and Shadow have been switching off incubating eggs as Pip Watch began just a few days ago. A term for the initial breaking of the shell by a hatching bird. The nest high above the Big Bear Valley is 5 feet across and 5 feet deep and has withstood winds up to 80 miles an hour. Molly, you're a mom. What's your hope for the eaglets?
I hope they make it. I hope we get to see it. It's a cozy little nest. Nice little house they built there. I'm really heard that it. Is that Spirit or Jackie? Who knows? Oh, Spirit was the baby before, right? Oh, they had previous babies. These are famous birds, man. These are famous birds.
We could use some name tags for the birds.
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, and some names for the babies. I'm sure somebody's already working on that one. Yeah, it looks cozy though. Not a bad place to come into the world. Beautiful view.
Pretty cool to see. All right. Molly, pleasure working with you.
Yeah, wonderful to be here. That is all for us this hour.
Proxy Live with Eric and Arcel continues on my Mech.
Reading loud and clear.
Have a great day.
Always got your mind on the road. Not you.
Location
Your business bank account is quickly slowing down where it's 5% APY. That's how business do. Into improvements. The virus that causes shingles is sleeping in 99% of people over 50, and it can strike at any time. Think you're not at risk? Wake up, because shingles could wake up to you. If you're over 50, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about shingles prevention. What if you do inside of those blocks? There's no more. You reach for Bullseye Pro. Faster, hands-free way to fill it up in there. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast, so strong, and so convenient. It's like putting the power of the equipment tester in the palm of your hand. Look, you could inflate all 4 tires of your car on a single charge, or inflate a bag full of soccer balls in practice. Bullseye Pro is so advanced, it has a built-in spike pressure digital sensor that changes and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Plus, it can be 100% hands-free. You simply set the target pressure and walk away, keeping you out of harm's way. Bullseye Pro is lightweight, durable, and powerful enough to inflate this massive monster truck tire. Plus, it has 4 ultra-bright LED lights to safely inflate at night. Bullseye Pro comes with 3 custom air nozzles on board, so you can easily inflate full toys, exercise balls, and more. Forget driving to the gas station. Bullseye Pro is your anywhere, anytime inflation station. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system, all for the factory direct price of just $79.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. But to really inflate this offer, we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. You get it all. An incredible value for one low price. Call or go online to order now.
Order call 1-800-579-4622 or go to getbullseyepro.com. So call 1-800-579-4622. That's 1-800-579-4622 or order online at getbullseyepro.com. Order now.
I'm on my way.
If I wasn't a clinical psychologist, I think I would have become a veterinarian. If I could stand aside blood, which I can't really, so maybe strike that. My name is Dr. Pierre. I've been a clinical psychologist since 1991. I was licensed. And I love being a clinical psychologist because I like helping people. I was inspired to take Balance of Nature, and then when I started doing some research into the product, I thought, sounds good. Let me give it a try. So I started taking Balance of Nature about 2.5 years ago. What I really like about Balance of Nature is that it has fruits and vegetable ingredients. I feel great, and because I feel great, I'm able to do everything that I want to do. I tell people that Balance of Nature is a wonderful supplement because I truly trust them with the product. I really love taking Balance of Nature.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code Fox News.
I knew that the guys had my back, so I was not nervous whatsoever. I went down, everything slowed down. I got to her. She was awesome. She was a veteran. She was able to assist in getting the harness on her and helping me perform the rescue. So I just big props to her.
What an amazing event. You just saw one of Louisville's bravest describing how he risked his life, saved the driver of that semi-truck that crashed into that bridge, and was left dangling precariously high above the Ohio River. That heart-stopping rescue airing live yesterday here on Fox News. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox News Live. I'm Eric Shaw. Hi, Arthel.
Hi, Eric. Hello, everyone. I'm Arthel Neville. So that firefighter is 29-year-old Bryce Carden. In his first one-on-one interview, he told Fox News this operation tops everything he's ever done as a first responder. And as you heard him mention, Carden says when he got to the scene, everything seemed to slow down.
CB Cotton has more on this. It's a Fox exclusive with that Kentucky hero. And what an inspiring, wonderful stories.
Hi, Eric. Indeed, you know, life is full of defining moments, and this is one for firefighter Bryce Carden and the truck driver he rescued. Emergency crews say around 12 p.m. Friday, this semi-truck and 3 other vehicles were involved in a collision, and the semi slammed through the bridge's guardrail barrier. Once Carden rappelled down to the cab, he found the woman, who's also a veteran, strapped inside. The firefighter says even though she'd been dangling there for about 45 minutes, he thinks she tapped into her military training to calm herself down. All the while, the two were united in prayer.
She knew that I was there to help her, and I talked her through that. I said, here, this is going to go around your chest, this is going to go around your legs. And she was able to help the situation. And then we had to put her on the seatbelt. And once I got her out of that, then I asked her, I said, do you pray? And she said, yes. So she just started praying the entire time. And I was like, I got you.
So Carden, a 6-year veteran of the Louisville Fire Department, is also a father and a husband. He's humble about his heroism and says his team had his back during the high-stakes rescue.
All first responders, you know, that are spending time with my family to serve the people. That's what we're here for, serve the people. And I just feel like it's that job of the world.
So Louisville Fire Chief Brian O'Neill says his team regularly trains for these scenarios, but even he was still stunned by these circumstances.
This is the type of thing you see in a movie and think that, you know, that doesn't really happen.
Attention, all Espinosa forces. And they did indeed. So O'Neill says now he'll go through that dramatic video, pick it apart, and use it for future training. Back to you.
Another reason to thank every brand of first responders across the country, especially the elderly. CB, thank you.
Standing by.
Okay, we're turning to politics now. On the road to the White House,
Leading to North Carolina this weekend, former President Trump to hold a rally minutes from now in Greensboro. His last remaining GOP challenger, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, holding her own event earlier today in Raleigh, North Carolina, one of 16 states holding contests this Super Tuesday. Bill Maluchin, he is live in Raleigh with a preview. Hey, Bill.
Well, Nikki Haley just wrapped up a campaign event right behind us here in Raleigh. She told me when I caught up with her, she has no interest whatsoever in running on a third-party, no-labels ticket. Why? She says she doesn't want a Democrat as her VP, and she's a Republican. She says she is Republicans' best shot at beating Joe Biden this November. So take a look at this video. This was her campaign event here just a short time ago. Had a big crowd in there, more than 1,100 people. She says she's been seeing bigger crowds in recent days. She just picked up 2 Senate endorsements. That would be Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski and Maine Senator Susan Collins. But look, let's face it, Super Tuesday could be a make-or-break moment for her campaign. So I asked her, if Super Tuesday doesn't go well, is there a world in which she could ever see herself endorsing Donald Trump? Here's what she said.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, when you're running a race, you don't think about anything negative happening. You only look at running through the tape. So I am running through the tape. I'm not thinking about anything after that. If you want to ask Donald Trump if he'll endorse me, I welcome that question. But until then, we'll wait. We're going to see what happens.
And this is a live look at Donald Trump's campaign event in Greensboro, North Carolina, waiting for him to take the stage there. He's telling his supporters, don't get complacent. Even though he swept every single state in the primary so far, he is urging them to turn out on Super Tuesday because he believes it could be a knockout blow for the Haley campaign, and he can eventually then pivot to the general election and Joe Biden. In the meantime, take a look at these graphics right here. New New York Times Siena polling spelling potential trouble for Joe Biden. They asked voters, registered voters, if the election were held today, who would you vote for? Shows Trump up 5 points, 48 to 43%. Then take a look at the second graphic here. Ask the same question. Nikki Haley versus Joe Biden. Nikki Haley crushing Joe Biden by 10%, 45 to 35%, according to that poll right there. And back out here live, that same poll also shows that both Donald Trump and Nikki Haley beat Joe Biden with Hispanics, registered Hispanic voters, by 6% and 12% respectively. That should set off alarm bells with Democrats heading into the fall. We'll send it back to you.
We'll take it back here, Bill Maluchin. Thank you. Eric.
And more delegates are up for grabs this weekend in Michigan. That is former President Trump increases his delegate lead ahead of Super Tuesday. Fox Business's Grady from Trump is live at the Republican State Convention happening now in Grand Rapids. What's the latest in the ground, Grady? How are you?
Well, Eric, 2 big updates, both here in Michigan and also in Missouri, and both in favor of former President Trump. So I'll start with this Michigan GOP primary convention. The former president has nearly swept all of the delegates up for grabs, but not quite. The way this convention works is representatives for each of the 13 congressional districts in Michigan, they've been holding individual meetings to pick their preferred candidate between former President Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. So far, 11 districts are in, all of them voting overwhelmingly for Trump. 2 districts have yet to make a decision, so that means 6 delegates of the 39 total up for grabs today are still outstanding. Michigan GOP Chair Pete Hoekstra says Trump's win today gives him momentum over former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley going into Super Tuesday.
I think she's got a real challenge now going into multiple states on a single day and creating an identity in a campaign. I think the format and the structure and the timing all favor someone with a high degree of visibility and identity, which is former President Trump.
Michigan split its primary this year into a traditional primary where voters cast their ballots earlier in the week and today's convention. So Haley did pick up 4 delegates in the state, but when you combine Trump's win in Michigan's primary, where voters hit the polls last Tuesday, and the results so far from today's convention, he's picked up 45 of the 55 delegates available in Michigan. This morning's caucuses in Missouri have also been called for Trump. That begins a months-long process of allocating the state's delegates. So far, though, already today, 36 of Missouri's delegates have gone to Trump. So he's building up his lead over Haley before Super Tuesday, Eric.
All right, Pretty Trouble at the Republican State Convention in Grand Rapids. Pretty.
Well, Eric, Oregon lawmakers have passed a bill to recriminalize some drugs. Oregon voters approved a measure in 2020 to decriminalize possession of small amounts of illegal drugs. But since then, fentanyl has skyrocketed, leading Governor Tina Kotek to declare a fentanyl emergency in Portland. The new recriminalizing measure is now on her desk, but critics say recriminalizing drugs could hurt addicts who want to quit and will disproportionately affect minorities.
Well, in California, the state senators there addressing that state's fentanyl problem. They're announcing a bipartisan legislative package to try to address the drug crisis and rampant retail theft. The crackdown also in response to the drug smuggling that continues along the border. Christina Coleman, live in Los Angeles, reporting what they're doing there. Christina?
Hi, Eric. Yeah, the deadly impact the fentanyl crisis is having in this border state and all across this nation is heartbreaking. I've talked to a number of parents who are devastated after losing their children to fentanyl poisoning. And just yesterday, border agents announced what they call a colossal discovery of fentanyl pills with an approximate street value of more than $11 million in the San Diego Border Patrol sector. CBP shared these photos of the seized drugs, and just think about this for a sec. The DEA says just 1 single gram, which is about more than 2 pounds of fentanyl, has potential to kill 500,000 people. And here you have 561,000 fentanyl pills, which weigh 123 pounds, found hidden in a single vehicle on Sunday at California's San Ysidro Port of Entry. Now, efforts to combat this crime is in the works. A bipartisan group of California senators just introduced a legislative package to address 2 significant challenges in this border state: retail theft and the raging fentanyl crisis.
The introduction of deadly fentanyl has had an exponential impact, and no one is spared, no matter your background. According to the latest available numbers, there are more than 12,000 drug overdose deaths a year in the Golden State. More than half of them related to fentanyl. State lawmakers have already invested more than $30 million over the past few years to a counter-drug task force, which includes the California National Guard and local and federal law enforcement, in an effort to stop drug trafficking and transnational crime organizations. In 2022 alone, the task force was able to recovered $969 billion worth of illegal street drugs. And a staggering 20% of that was fentanyl. Scary stuff. Now, if the California senators' proposed bipartisan legislation is passed and signed off by the governor, it would increase access to addiction treatment and drug prevention efforts as part of a comprehensive approach to combating the fentanyl crisis. Eric?
Thank you. Brenda?
Well, Eric and Christina, President Biden and former President Trump made dueling trips to the southern border this week as the migrant crisis becomes issue number 1 for voters. Former acting ICE Director Tom Hogan weighs in. Up next.
Got my attention.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and ensure complete with 30 grams of protein.
Roger that.
We're building a better postal service. All parts working in sync to move your business forward. For more value, more reliability, and more on-time deliveries. The United States Postal Service, built for how you business.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspace.com to learn what your policy might be.
For many of my clients, selling their life insurance with Abacus was right for them and their estate.
Don't sell or lapse your policy without going to abacuspace.com first. There are no fees and no obligations. Get the real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus.
Struggling with the highs and lows of bipolar 1? Ask about Vraylar. Because you are greater than your bipolar 1. And you can help take control of your symptoms with Vraylar. Some some medicines only treat the lows or highs. Vraylar treats depressive, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults, proving full-spectrum relief for all bipolar 1 symptoms. And in Vraylar clinical studies, most saw no substantial impact on weight. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction, or uncontrollable muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, and high cholesterol may occur. Movement dysfunction and restlessness are common side effects. Sleepiness and stomach issues are also common. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Ask about Vraylar and learn how AbbVie could help you save.
The regime in Iran is able to use 7 nuclear weapons.
As Inside Plus, Stephen Calarisi reacts to Trump's legal claims on Mike Liberty in a minute.
You still owe a balance on this semester. I can give you 2 weeks.
What's that not making some money?
The Roman didn't get a job, cheap place to live.
Based on the incredible true story.
He said there was a job lead. I had a person that lied and leaked, so just never again.
From director George Clooney.
9 seconds under the course record. Olympic year this year.
Olympic year. I didn't realize. Dogs. Boys. Oh, sorry, guy. I'm laying down, coach. History.
Show them what I already know.
Boys in the boat. PG-13.
My family came to Canada because the situation in our country wasn't the safest. I had trouble fitting in, and learning the language was very hard. Therefore, making friends was also very hard. The program helped me a lot because I met other kids who were going through the same struggles as me. So I was able to relate and find somewhere where I could fit in. Thanks to the support of United Way, I'm able to achieve my dreams and become a doctor in the future.
Mission successful.
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids? Drugs are out there. Will my teen feel free to say no around other kids? I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids? Drugs worry me, but how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Call or chat to get real-time support.
President Biden has been resisting pressure to take executive action on the immigrant crisis after a visit to the border in Texas on Thursday. Meantime, the White House is now rebranding illegal immigrants as what they call, quote, newcomers. Lucas Thomas, live at the White House with more on this new, calling them the newcomers. Lucas.
That's a new one, Eric. Before leaving for Camp David over the weekend, President Biden took some questions about some executive actions he could potentially take in the State of the Union address. He was also asked about his son, Hunter.
Why are you waiting to take executive action on the border?
Because we need more forces on board. I don't have the authority.
You're lying repeatedly about your interactions with your son and other business partners. What's your response to this?
I'll read the record of every single one. These guys gotta stop.
But you did interact with your partners.
I do not interact with the parties.
Now, Eric, the largest migration in U.S. history took place between 1881 and 1914, when more than 10 million immigrants arrived from Europe, a number that by some estimates has already been equaled over the past 3 years under President Biden's watch. Democrats are not optimistic the solution is close.
It's going to take Democrats and Republicans coming together to do this, but we have to keep folks closer to the border. They've been setting up camps where you can process folks, treat them as human beings, but again, this problem is not going to get better. It's going to get worse because you see that instability in the global south.
And Republicans say President Biden doesn't need Congress, that he can take actions himself with those executive actions and go back to Trump-era border policies.
I look forward to his State of the Union. I do not expect him to say, yes, I'm going to close the border, an authority I've always had. I'm going to reverse the policies of 3 years that have brought in 7+ million people that are not going home anytime soon, that were not vetted, that in fact are displacing the people standing in line waiting to get into this country legally.
Might not be Trump-era border policies that President Biden announced next week in his State of the Union address, but many lawmakers want to hear about some executive actions, Eric.
Yeah, that they do. Lucas, thank you. Arthel?
Well, Eric and Lucas, President Trump and former President President Biden and former President Trump both visiting the border this week as the migrant crisis continues to spiral out of control. But critics could not ignore the contrast in the dueling visits, calling out Biden for going to what is now one of the least trafficked areas, while Trump headed to one of the busiest. All of this as polls show immigration has become a defining issue in the upcoming election, and we get startling new numbers, border numbers, for the last 24 hours. Griff Jenkins, live from the border in Mission, Texas, with the very latest. Griff.
Hey, good afternoon, Arthel. The numbers are ticking up as we enter March. More than 7,000 migrant encounters in the last 24 hours. But the areas where it's happening is in really neither place that the presidential candidates win, but out west to California and Arizona. Take a look. In the last 24 hours, the sectors that are busiest. Tucson was the very busiest with more than 1,800 Arthel. San Diego followed with 1,200. Whereas in the Rio Grande Valley, there were only 350. That's where Biden went. And in El Rio, where you have Eagle Pass where Trump went, only 300. Now, that split visit, you did have President Biden in Brownsville calling for President Trump to join him to push for a border legislation, while as former President Trump just attacked Biden for what he called an invasion. Here's a little bit of them trading jabs. Watch.
We need to act. It's time for the speakers and some of my Republican friends in Congress who are blocking this bill to show a little spine. Let's remember who the heck we work for. We work for the American people, not the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. We work for the American people.
The United States is being overrun by the Biden migrant crime. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. It's migrant crime. We call it Biden migrant crime.
Meanwhile, a few hours ago in Eagle Pass, you can see this exclusive video. Fox cameras were rolling as some smugglers were apprehended smuggling migrants. The two smugglers were women, we're told from authorities from Oklahoma. They're from out of state. And the three migrants, obviously everybody apprehended, but it's just a snapshot, Arthel, of whether they come across the border to get themselves up or whether they cross the border and work with smugglers and try to be gotaways. Either way, officials say that they're concerned about this, and many do hope, as my colleague Lucas Thompson, was saying about the possibility of an executive order. It's just unclear exactly what that might be. Already some members of Congress, like Democrat Congressman Ami Bera, saying that he hopes that President Biden will announce some sort of executive order in the State of the Union. We'll have to wait and find out. Arthel, we'll send it back to you.
All right. I'll take it back here live in Mission, Texas. Griff Jenkins. Thank you, Griff. Eric?
All right, now the big question, will President Biden now take tougher action on the border after his visit? Tom Holman is here, former acting ICE director and a Fox News contributor. Tom, first two visits, Biden, Trump, which one had the most impact for you?
I think the Trump visit was obvious because he went down, and like Griff said, the numbers in that area are down. And why are they down? Because Governor Abbott took a page out of the Trump playbook and put border barriers up. President Trump wanted to build a wall, was very successful. Walls were built, immigration went down. So he went to an area where the governor put up barriers, whether it's floating devices or razor wire, and it shows his effectiveness. Crossings in that area are down over 70%. So I think it was a meaningful visit.
A lot of calls that we've been seeing this morning in the news reports for the president to take some type of executive action. What can he do? What should he do? We heard his remark on the White House lawn saying that he doesn't have the resources to do that. That's up to Congress. What would you advise?
First of all, he has the same resources President Trump had when we had illegal immigration at a 45-year low. This isn't a resource issue. It's a policy issue. And he could change that tomorrow, right? He could put the Remain in Mexico program back in place, which was a game changer for the Trump administration. That moved the numbers to historic lows. So he could put the Remain in Mexico program back in. The highest courts in the land said that's legal. Remember, he killed that program, President Biden. He could reissue the 36 country agreements that he again abolished when he became president, and have the assistance of this 3 Central American countries with Mexico. He could end catch and release. That's just the law says that illegal alien crosses the border without proper documentation shall be detained. He can end catch and release. There's a lot of things he can do with a stroke of a pen and get this border secure. He cannot do it. And when he talks about legislation, why don't Republicans come together on the legislation and Senate bill? How come they're not coming together in HR 2? The House passed that 6 months ago. That plan will work. How do we know it worked? Because a lot of this Trump's policy. They've proven it back. So we have the data.
Excellent. We'll see you guys next time. All right. Peace out.
Why do you think we haven't seen those executive orders and actions that you just recommended? And do you think we'll see this in the State of the Union?
I don't think so. I hope so. Like, I don't know. To answer your question, why would somebody not want to secure the border? I mean, for 3 years he did nothing. Now all of a sudden he's talking about it. Why is he talking about it? Well, guess what? The election's coming up in 3 months. So now all of a sudden he says he cares. But I don't understand when you unsecure border like that. So what we have right now, we had over 1,700 migrants that died in U.S. soil. We got over 114,000 Americans that have fentanyl comes across the open border. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking of women and children. We have a record number of people on terrorist watch lists come across the border. Open borders, it causes all this other havoc. You should talk about immigration. This is the biggest national security failure I've seen since 9/11. So I don't understand the hesitation on changing some policies to secure the border. Again, not a resource issue, a policy issue.
Now, besides the border, we're beginning to see some pushback, finally, in terms of the sanctuary city and sanctuary states across the country. New York City Mayor Eric Adams advising that for criminal migrants, that they will have the NYPD now cooperate with ICE. That's a change. So we're seeing, a reevaluation of this. Do you think we will see a reevaluation of the sanctuary city states and sanctuary city cities in terms of their actions in dealing with this migrant crisis?
I hope so, because sanctuary policies are sanctuaries for criminals. Sanctuary policies don't allow ICE to walk in a county jail where somebody already decided to lock the guy up. Right? We don't want to talk to victims and witnesses, and we don't want to scare the immigrant community. What ICE wants is access to a public jail where a local police department already decided to put someone in jail, so lock him up, and he's in the country illegally. That's what we want to talk to. So I hope it raises the discussion, and we get rid of some of these sanctuary policies or soften them up. What's terrible, though, that's the tragedy of a young lady being murdered by an illegal alien in Georgia, where people start talking about it. And I tell you, we'll be talking about that for the next couple of weeks. Then we'll move on